learn something unexpected. Maybe that'll happen for you in class today too. So please take a comfortable seat. And you can rest your hands in your lap, let your eyes closed. And I'm going to ask you to try to sense in the back hemisphere of the body, like how much presence you feel. It's early in the morning for some of you. You're in Alaska. Mid-morning for others. You're in other time zones. So just check and sense how much presence can you feel in the back hemisphere of your body. And if we think of the back hemisphere of the body as the past and how the tradition of yoga is coming to meet us, what changes with your sense of the back body? As if you were receiving the river of yoga, and that comes to touch you, and then this river flows downstream from your practice. Invite yourself to sit up a little bit taller and to sense the space you can make in the back hemisphere of the body. A space that allows that river to come through freely, porously. We aren't here to redesign the tradition of yoga. We are here to benefit from its long-standing depth of wisdom, grace, love. When you sense that, now start deepening your breathing and notice how the quality of the breath is when you consider this immense tradition of yoga is coming to meet you. You're already welcome in the river of what yoga is. And it will influence you this morning, and then that will come through in your senses, in your speech, in your actions. And with the kind of appropriate humility and grace in your heart and your mind, please bring your hands together. And you may sing with me. Om Bharva Suvaha Tatsavitor Varenyam Argo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bharva Suvaha Tatsavitor Varenyam Argo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bharva Suvaha Tatsavitor Varenyam Bhargo tasya dhimahi dhiyo yo na prachodayata. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And then release your hands. Please open your eyes. And we are going to begin with a chair this morning. So please come up to standing. I'll change which camera you're looking at. See if I can do it. I do have control over that. Okay. So place the upper back of the chair to be a support to you. And when you place your hands on the upper back of the chair, I'm going to ask you to make the heel of the hand the strong point on the chair. So you place the palms like this, and the fingers can stretch out beyond the chair and reach back to an L shape so that you can really sense the back hemisphere of the body not sagging towards the floor. When you inhale, let's use the Ujjayi inhale and try to imagine a parachute experience in the back hemisphere of your body. And then when you exhale, I'm going to ask you to bend the knees and imagine the spine going a little further back into the sitting bones. And then inhale, straighten your legs and let the back of the body be like a parachute. And as you exhale, bend your knees, lengthen your tailbone back. No need to have the spine hammock towards the floor. Once more, inhale, press your palms down and straighten your legs. Make a parachute of the back body. And then last one, exhale, bend your knees, take your hips back. Press the heels of your hands down against the upper back of the chair. Wrap your shoulder blades now around the sides of your rib cage. And bring the breath from the low back to your mid back to the back of your heart. Again, press the heels of your hands onto the chair for support and to engage the serratus anterior. These are muscles that help you to widen the shoulder blades around the sides of your rib cage. It also is helpful to have the stretch include the latissimus dorsi, this huge muscle on the back of the body that's used for back bending. We want that muscle to stretch out right now. Let's take one more breath in, please. And then you can straighten both legs and press down against the upper back of the chair, step towards the chair, and you can turn to face me or the camera. Reach back and interlace your fingers. Roll your shoulders back. Now when you roll the shoulders back here, try to give a good strong squeeze at the upper back so you really have a sense that the shoulders go back, the shoulder blades come in towards the spine, lift up through your heart, root down through your tailbone, and then start aiming upwards with your collarbones and your eyes. And to greet the morning, enjoy a little feeling of a standing back bend. Take another breath in through the nose. And then as you exhale, pour yourself down over the tops of your thighs and come down to Uttanasana with your hands clasped behind your back. But try to imagine when you come down and forward as if you were gazing back between the heels. There is that long tradition of yoga, the river of yoga. And then as you inhale, bring your heart forward. Begin to stand firmly in your own legs. Now this river goes downstream from the front hemisphere of your body. Rise up through your heart. Roll your shoulders back, little standing back bend. And then exhale, come upright. Release the clasp of your hands. And pause there in mountain pose to sense this river in which you are standing. We will be using the chair again, but not promptly. So I'm going to keep mine to the side and ask you guys to step forward for Surya Namaskar. In Surya Namaskar this morning, I'm going to ask you to do a little back bend at the high point of your Surya Namaskar. So that is when you go like this and you got the arms coming up overhead. We're going to keep the heels rooted and aim for a standing back bend through here. Now, if this is too much because the arms actually weigh something and maybe the upper back is a little bit stiff, you can make your back bend like this or like this. And they are different back bends, so you choose what feels like a celebration to you. Please join your hands together. Come into your Ujjayi breath. Sense this enormous river in which we are standing. We are so fortunate to have the teachings come to our lives. And inhale the hands down, wide and up. Now staying upright, look for the back bend that can be yours. You may try each of the arm positions. And we're going to come up and over. Let's put the hands to Anjali Mudra. Come down to Uttanasana. This is like a bow of humility. Gaze back between the heels. And then inhale, glide your heart forward. Exhale, left foot back. Inhale to rise into your crescent lunge pose, like this. Good, thank you. Hook the thumbs. Turn your palms to face each other and widen your shoulder blades around your rib cage as you arc up. So thumbs hooked means that the palms are coming towards the center. Rather than flaring the hands out, I want you to turn the outer shoulder blades forward, the triceps forward, elbows forward, the pinky finger side of your hand is forward. Yeah, good. And then let's breathe in, please. Deep breath to the low belly. Good, and exhale, make a wide circle of the arms and touch the two blocks lightly. With your inhale, bring your left foot forward and your heart forward. And then exhale, take your right foot back. Inhale, rise to your crescent lunge. Hook the other thumb behind. And do your best again to bring the outer shoulder blades forward around the rib cage, the triceps forward, good. Elbows and pinkies forward. This is a back bend, and it would be appropriate for you to sense that in your right hip flexors, in the abdomen, in your heart and shoulder blades. But I don't want you to sense that you're flaring the armpits wide, rather that the shoulder blades are coming around the rib cage, the back of the heart. In that case, will be more broad. And then exhale, make a wide circle of your arms. Let's put the two blocks aside and step backwards to downward facing dog pose. Now in downward dog pose, I'm going to repeat this instruction about the shoulders and the shoulder girdle. So you guys are very practiced at downward dog pose. You don't have to look at me, only to listen. To make the hands wide, press the index fingers firmly down. And keeping the index finger and the thumb anchored, rotate the crease of the elbows forward, triceps in, and try to sense the shoulder blades widening around the rib cage. And from that widening, then try to add a little feeling of tone right at the floating ribs. And take that tone down into the deep low belly, just above the pubic bone. So there's this beautiful ribbon of energy in the pose. The index fingers are grounded. Turn the crease of the elbows forward. Broaden your shoulder blades. And as they wrap around the sides of the ribs, tone the front ribs and reach into the deep low belly towards your pubic bone. And then inhale, glide forward to plank pose. Exhale down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Okay, let's reach back and interlace the fingers, please. And inhale, roll up to Salambasana. And exhale to roll down. Keep the legs toned, tailbone anchored. Inhale to roll up. Exhale to roll down. You could imagine that the roll down is like an offering from you into the current of yoga. Inhale to rise. Exhale to make that offering as you roll down. And then once more, inhale to rise and gaze kind of downstream. And then exhale, place your hands beneath your shoulders, curl your toes under, press up to plank pose. And then reach backwards to downward facing dog pose and try to find that line of energy again from your index fingers. Turn the crease of the elbows forward. Wrap the triceps around towards your nose and the outer shoulder blades around the sides of your rib cage. And trace that into the front of the ribs and then up into the pubic bone. And then with your exhale, step the awkward foot forward first, whichever one that is for you. And then step the other foot forward, Uttanasana. Bring your blocks back in. As you inhale, glide your heart forward. On the exhale, when you bow down towards the legs, press your palms firmly into the blocks and tone the deep interior of the abdomen. And then inhale, rise up. Here comes the standing back bend again. Root your tailbone, lift your heart. And then bring yourself upright. Release your arms wide. Join your hands. Now we repeat that. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Please hook your thumbs here. You get the pinkies to turn in. Widen your shoulder blades. And let's see about the standing back bend from here. Lift up through your heart more than your chin. And then exhale, come upright and forward and down. Press into the two blocks to tone the deep interior of the belly. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, right foot back first this time. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Hook the thumbs. Widen the sides of the rib cage and the shoulder blades. Enjoy your back bend. But enjoy it in integrity, right? You are an ambassador of yoga, not a person doing contortionism. So keep the right leg strong, like it reaches into the river that's behind you. And the offering that flows through your body and your heart, your senses, your speech, your actions. You want that offering to be genuine and sustainable. And as you exhale, float the arms wide and bow over your left leg thoughtfully. You inhale your right foot forward and exhale left foot back. You're stepping backwards into the current of the river. And I like saying, thank you, where are my resources upstream? Sweep the arms up, hook your thumbs. Try to change the hook of the thumb, so it's the awkward one. Very good. And then looking for your back bend, that celebration which is yours. But you know where the source is coming from in the celebration. Upstream and upstream. We are nourished by the current of river flowing through our lives. When you exhale, sweep your arms wide, come over your front leg. Put the two blocks aside, please, and step backwards to downward dog pose. And as you gaze back between your toes in downward dog pose, imagine that river, which is coming downstream to meet you. And imagine how it gets expressed then through the physicality of your pose right now. In other words, what is the mind quality at this very moment? What is the quality of the heart at this very moment? What is the feeling tone of the breath? And if you check those physical markers, index fingers, elbow creases, triceps, the shoulder blades, the floating ribs, and down into the pubic bone, it ought to feel to you like your body would be stable enough to do a handstand. If the hands to the hips were in a handstand, you'd have this much tone and stability. But you wouldn't have arrogance associated with that. Now let's inhale and glide forward to plank pose, please. And then exhale down through Chaturanga Dandasana. Once more onto your stomach, this time for Salambhasana again. So please reach back and interlace your fingers at the small of your back. This time we're going to lift the arms, heart, head, and the legs. Okay, so inhale to come up to Salambhasana, as if you're gazing downstream. Exhale, keep the tone of the body, but bow down to a kind of pranam. And inhale to rise up, legs and arms, heart and head. And exhale to roll down, but keep the tone of the body. 3 times more. Inhale to rise. Gaze downstream. Exhale to bow, gazing inwardly. Twice more. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Okay, here's your last one. Inhale to go up, gazing downstream. And you exhale to lower. Good. Place your hands beneath your shoulders. Great. And press yourself up to table pose. Now, in table pose, put your blocks aside. And if you need to, you can watch forward here for a moment. In table pose, then I'm going to ask you to take your left arm under. It's called thread the needle pose. And step your right foot back like you're going to plank pose. That's going to help you to take the left arm further under and thread the needle pose. And as you twist your upper body to the right, let's place the right hand on the left hand for security. You can even press your left wrist along the floor with your right hand. And then start lowering your right knee back down towards table pose. So what we did there was we allowed the hips to turn into the twist with the chest and heart. And now we're asking the hips to twist opposite of the chest and the heart. So sense the left side of your rib cage, left lower back, left side waist. And for some of you, the right knee will come to the floor, whereas for others, it won't come all the way down. You take a deep breath in, and then place your right hand somewhere near to your head to press yourself back to table pose. Now thread your right arm underneath. Come to the back of your right wrist, hopefully the back of your shoulder, and the side of your head. And then step the left leg back like you're going to plank pose. That is going to give you an extra boost of sweeping your right arm under. And then place your left hand on your right hand. You can stretch the right arm out as you lower your left knee slowly back down towards the floor. And go slowly because you actually are stretching a very significant part of the body, externally and internally. So on the outer body, there's your latissimus dorsi, this major muscle across the back of the body. And in the interior, you're working with the organ system. So for some of you, the left knee will reach the floor. For some, it may not. Take another deep breath in. And then place your left hand next to your head and return yourself to table pose. And now step into plank pose. And I'd like you to feel into your plank pose if it's any easier. Like, is it more broad across the back of the waist? Does the lumbar spine sag a little bit less in your plank pose? I'm not calling you saggers. I'm just saying it's an inclination in yoga that happens. Is that happening a little bit less right now? And then reach your hips high into downward facing dog pose. Good. Nice job. And then please step one foot forward to meet the other foot. Second step, Uttanasana. Bring your blocks back in. As you inhale, glide your heart forward. And when you exhale for that deep bow, use the blocks to help you press into the hands and come into the interior of the abdomen. Let's reach around and interlace the fingers at the small of the back like we did before. Please roll your shoulders open. And gazing past the heels towards that river, now sense it's going to come downstream through your own life. Root down through your heels, roll yourself up to standing, find your steady ground, and look for the back bend that's going to be yours. Go upwards, not just backwards. Press up through your heart, your collarbones, and also raise your eyes. And then bring yourself upright. Release both arms, gaze forward, and then close your eyes so you can gaze inward. You're doing great. Thanks, you guys. Okay, we're going to add parvrrta, and I'd like us to use, it's called triangle pose in English, and I'd like us to use an arm position in this. So I'm going to show you here. Let's say that this is my right foot that I'm keeping forward. So I'm going to mirror you in the demonstration. When you come down to parvrrta, I'm going to ask you to place your forearm and that you can press firmly down. So the shoulder to the forearm, to the elbow, to the knee, to the shin, to the heel. And that's to help you in rotating your upper body to your right. And the left arm, is going to be wrapping around the small of your back. And for some of you, that's going to be a handhold that looks like this. It's not the case for everyone, because some people, the length of the arm or the amount of twisting, that when you come around and you slide the hand here, this might be your end range. And for others, you may be able to bring your hand around to hold the inner thigh. And for some people, they bring it around and they're holding the inner thigh all the way down to the ankle. So they have long arms, they twist very well. No competition, please. Okay, let's put it in the sun salutation. Please bring your hands together. You're probably going to have one arm that's different than the other also, and that deserves your respect. Okay, inhale the hands down, wide and up. Again, let's hook the thumbs, please. Bring the shoulder blades forward around the sides of the rib cage and explore your standing back bend from here. You need to have strength in the legs, the tailbone, and your heels. Please do not be flimsy in the lower back. And then as you exhale, come up and over the tops of your thighs. Touch the two blocks so you complete your Uttanasana in the deep interior of the belly. And then inhale, glide your heart forward. Now please step your left foot straight back. Pivot your left heel to the floor and place your right forearm on your right knee. Good, and press firmly down there. So that downward pressure is to help you now rotate your chest and your heart so that as you're turning to the left, you're in no particular hurry, by the way. As you're turning, try to sense the tailbone goes down towards your back heel. And you rotate from the deep low belly, the mid low belly, the sides of the waist, And then wrap your left arm around, and perhaps you're going to hold the right inner thigh. That's the case for some, but also not for others. And then as you're rotating, roll your left shoulder back, but keep the right forearm strong. Wherever your left forearm crosses the back of your body, try to bring the breath in there, like a little parachute. And sense the resource that the back hemisphere of the body is for you. You're doing a beautiful job making your own choices in the pose. Thank you. Now, if you've got the left shoulder rolled back, try turning just your gaze down towards the floor and feel the left side of the neck. Now energize both legs. Don't forget the tailbone reaches long towards your left heel. And as you next exhale, root down and rise up to warrior two. Beautiful. Great. Turn your right hand skyward. Rise up to rising warrior pose. Yes, awesome. And then exhale and windmill your arms over to come down into your uttanasana. Step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Good work. Let's change sides. So take your right foot back. Pivot your right heel to the floor. Bring your left forearm to your left knee. Good. Press firmly down from your left shoulder to your left upper arm to your elbow. Left knee, left shin, left heel. And as you're turning, root your tailbone towards your right heel. And turn the low belly and the mid-low belly. You may wrap your right arm around the small of your back. Turn the sides of the belly. Rotate your heart and do your best to roll your right shoulder open. And wherever your hand and arm are crossing the small of your back, practice breathing in there. The small of the back is acting like a parachute. And this region of the body adds to our sense of humility. We recognize we are not actually the doer here. We are being supported by resources and teachings that would be beyond our personal capacity to create and sustain alone. So we breathe into the back hemisphere of the body, remembering there are much larger resources into which you want to be connected. As you roll your right shoulder open, try to keep that opening and gaze down so you can feel the right side of your neck. Keep the legs very strong. As you next exhale, gracefully rise up to warrior two. Good, and then turn your left hand skyward. Rise up to rising warrior pose. Very nice, great, beautiful. Lovely to see your individual expressions there. Yeah. And then let's exhale and windmill the arms down. Touch the two blocks and put them aside. And one more time, please step backwards to downward facing dog pose. Good. Yeah, so beautiful to see your efforts. In downward dog, let's come back to that phrase that we learn in the teachings of yoga. You are not the doer. You are the vessel for actions, for wisdom, for speech. But you are not the original doer. You aren't the source of all doing. None of us could be here without much larger resources. Please inhale and come forward to plank pose. Now we're going to find our way to chaturanga and we'll do cobra pose. So come down to chaturanga with your exhale. And then please inhale, roll up to cobra pose. And exhale, roll down to pranam. Take your time. Inhale, roll up to cobra. Beautiful. Thank you for shining your hearts forward. Exhale to roll down. You're gazing downstream, then you gaze into the heart. And then inhale, roll up again. So your heart shines downstream and your gaze goes downstream. And exhale to lower. The next time we're going to stay up in cobra pose for a few breath cycles. And so as you inhale to rise, look for the cobra pose that you can sustain. Energetically pull the heart forward, roll your shoulders back. Allow the breath to gently support from the base of your belly to the mid-torso, mid-back also, up to the heart, including the back of the heart. As you gaze downstream at the chance to make an offering today, consider what that will be. You roll down, make a pillow of the two hands, and come down to Makrasana. In English, that means crocodile pose. So you can rest your head on the back of your hands and watch your body go from exertion to ease. You're doing very well with your practice. So don't rest in the narrative of judgment right now. And then please walk your hands back towards your knees. Rise up to kneeling. And take a seat in Vajrasana, means kneeling. You could use a couple blocks to sit on, so like Zazen, or you can sit in Vajrasana. Vajrasana actually means thunderbolt pose. So Virasana, we have the heels wider, and that's when we sit on the block in Zazen. You sit directly on the heels, it's called Vajrasana, thunderbolt pose. Let yourself sit really still and imagine this river of yoga coming through your life. And now I'm going to give a demonstration of what we're doing with this chair. Let me put my glasses aside. So I'm going to come up to standing. We're going to work on the pose called parvrrta trikonasana. And I want to use the chair in a couple of specific actions for you. So for better visibility, we'll put this aside. So when you place yourself, I'm going to show you with my right foot forward and my left foot back, because I want you to sense the back of the body. And then when we do it in person, when you're doing it with me in real time, I'll show the other side so you can see. So here I place the heels of the hands. So this is an outstretched kind of parvrrta, right? And I want you to be able to press the heel of the hand against the chair and to tone and strengthen here at the serratus anterior, and then across the front ribs right through here and into the deep low belly where the pubic bone is. So in this position, this is called, let's say, extended parvrrta. And what I'm going to do is keep the right arm very strong and let the left arm drape down like an elephant trunk. It's not necessary to have it be active right now. And I do want the right arm to remain steady as I begin twisting right from here in the left low back, the left side of the rib cage, the left shoulder blade. And if you're noticing, the right arm and shoulder don't drop. When I find a place where the left side is draping down like the melting wax of a candle, we might say. For me, it's quite comfortable to cross my hand over to the outside of my other ankle. Then I'm going to add the support of the left arm. And then if you have the stability for it, you raise the right arm. And then we descend and we'll rise up to standing and do the other side. Okay, so this is parvrrta trikonasana. This particular approach is to help you have some strength and also some softness, some sense of where does the twist come from in the inner body. So you can do this with your kitchen counter. I've already tried that today. You can do it with the upper back of a chair. So let's start here with the heels of the hands in a place of great stability on the upper back of the chair. And then step your legs back into parvrrta. And keep both hands on the chair for the next couple moments. I'm going to take a closer look at you. Yeah, that's great. Nice job. So with what you're doing there, you want the breath to feel like it's a part of the rhythm of the pose. So press the right hand now firmly down and let the left arm kind of drape towards the floor as if it were a nice Kathy. It's like, that's good, Kate, yeah, and Kat. It's like the lazy trunk of an elephant. So with the right arm remaining steady, you have this balance now between effort and concentration, and then surrender and ease. And these are two keys to the phrase, you are not the doer, but you have these responsibilities to act. So keep the right hand and arm strong and stable. The right outer shoulder blade is wide on the rib cage. And let the left kidney and the left low back, left rib cage, they begin to melt down towards the floor. And keep the strength on the right side of the body, including draw your right hip deeply back away from your right heel. And then add your left hand in a downward pressure, either on a couple of blocks on the floor, inside or outside of your ankle. And then float your right arm up, if you can keep your balance. And you're really listening for where in the pose does your strength need to come from? Where is your stamina coming from? Notice the quality of your mind, your breath, your heart. Beautiful work. Very nice. And then let's exhale, rotate down so the right arm comes back down to the floor. Shift your hands up to your hips and push down to rise up to standing. Now find your steady ground. I know it might feel like you're standing on a surfboard in this river and it's not very stable. So look for your stability and reach back to clasp your hands. And roll the shoulders back. Take your tailbone down. Lift your heart. And listen for the standing back bend that is yours, supported by enormous resources. And you get to feel the breath in the body is not your own doing, but you are the recipient of it right now. And then as you exhale, keep the hands clasped and come forward and down to parvrrta. Allow the arms to go overhead with the hands interlaced. And then release the arms, lightly touch the floor. And when you're ready to walk yourself back up to standing and step your back foot up to meet your front foot. And try to sense, okay, what's happening there? What's your experience? Nice job. Keep the left foot where it is, step backwards with your right foot. Bring the heels of your hands out over the upper back of the chair. And begin with the Ujjayi breath in the back of your waist. So you have to sense when you press the heels of your hands down and you widen the back of the shoulder blades, the back of the waist should also broaden some. The same line of energy we had from the index fingers to the tricep, shoulder blades, front ribs, pubic bone, and downward dog pose, that exists also here. So now let the right arm dangle like the elephant trunk. And do your best to really keep the strength from the heel of your left hand down the side of your left torso, the whole hemisphere on the left side. Let the right arm get heavier. You may find that you choose to cross your hand over your ankle. It's optional. And when you have a sense of interest for and the action to do it, you can add now the downward pressure of your right arm. You could put your fingers on a block, inside or outside of your ankle. And then you can choose to also raise your left arm to parvrrta trikonasana. And I'd like you to be paying attention to the strength that's needed, the process that you're going through. You're doing great. The breath in the body. Listen for where the actions are inspired from. So remembering, even that you have the chance to breathe into this experience, that's already been gifted to you. So we listen for how we're making most wise use of the gift. You may release the pose, shift your hands to your hips, and as you rise up to standing, reach back to clasp your hands. Roll your shoulders open. Root the tailbone down and slowly let it emerge into a standing back bend. And keeping your legs steady, you can pour yourself forward over your left thigh, coming down to parvrrta with the hands clasped behind the lower back, and maybe the arms go overhead. And this process is something unique to you. So how far your arms will go, the whole experience that your body is able to create, no judgment. You're doing beautifully. You can release the hands. Maybe place your hands on your hips if that feels more stable, and roll yourself up to standing. And then step your back foot to meet your front foot. There you go, let the arms dangle. And imagine again you're standing in this enormous river of yoga, grace and consciousness, the alleviation of suffering, the wisdom traditions themselves. How will that come through today in your senses, in your speech, in your actions? And I'm going to ask you to come onto the floor on your back, please. And you can, depending on the kind of chair you have, you're going to end up being able to use it for Shavasana. But I'm going to ask you to start like this. So when you come down, this is within your reach, but it's not your first thing to do. You're going to lie on your back. For the reclined spine twist, where we keep the legs like a unit, we're going to bring them down to one side. We'll bring them back up to center. We'll go the other side. And then for Shavasana, we're going to slide the legs up onto the chair seat like this. So you have a little waterfall Shavasana. And for those who'd like to, for that Shavasana, you'll be able to take a blanket onto the back of the pelvis like this. But first, the spine twist, please. So just know that you have your resources nearby for your Shavasana. And then bring your knees towards your chest. Take the arms in a T shape. Commit to keeping the legs together like a unit. And come down to your left. So do your best to line the two knees up. Very nice. Good. And for some of you, it's going to be helpful, excuse me, if you take the left hand, put it under the inside of the right knee, and give a little traction there. From your outer hip, the traction is towards your right knee. And let that then be in contrast to you turning to your right with your chest and your heart. Allow your body to breathe in a restful and nourishing way, including the right hemisphere of the belly, the organs of digestion. You may also include the right lower back, right kidney. When you're ready to, please float your legs up to center, and keeping the legs again like a unit, we're going to take them down to the right side. So as your legs come down to the right, open your left arm out to the side, and it might help to put the right hand on the inside of the left knee to give that little bit of traction again. Yeah. And try to sense the breath coming down into the left low back, left low belly. You may turn your head to your left. You may close your eyes. You can sense again, here's this breath, and we do say in yoga class, we have this language like, take a deep breath. We are participating with the body intelligence. We're humbly accepting the fact that there are actions we can participate in. Also remembering we are not the source of all actions. We are not the doer, as they say in the Bhagavad Gita. We have responsibilities. We have a need to be in integrity. We don't want to become flamboyant or have a misguided sense of possessiveness about what we are doing here. And as you next exhale, you can bring the legs up as a unit. And you can slide your feet and shins to the back of the chair. Pick up your hips. If you like, put a blanket under the back of the pelvis. And let your body come to rest in Shavasana. Yeah, very good. And I'm going to ask you to imagine inside the body now. We're going to have pranayama after Shavasana, so this is the most important pose in the whole practice. So imagine inside the body that these little committees of body intelligence, they're coming to take care of you. They see that you've done the difficult work of your practice, you've given your concentration, your efforts. Now you are resting. We call this the surrender part of the class, Abhyasa and Vairagyam. So imagine the sort of inner committee or the inner community of workers. They take care of the circulatory pathways, and they are cleaning out, as if cleaning the waterways in the city. They are cleaning out the circulatory pathways. The arteries and the veins. They are also responsible for helping to see that nutrients are carried in the waterways of the body, in the circulatory pathways. And then inside you have another inner community of workers, and they're responsible for the nervous system pathways, the electrical wiring that supports the village that is you. And they are right now repairing the electrical lines and checking that there isn't unskillful crossover and that the electricity is given the proper voltage. All the neural pathways, they get refined and retuned. And imagine the inner community responsible for respiration. And they too have their jobs, from the tiny sacs inside the lungs to the delivery systems that bring oxygen to your muscles and to your brain, and the process of discarding the CO2, carbon dioxide. And imagine the inner community responsible for the repair of the cells. They are specialized workers, and they come to help with cell repair. You can imagine the internal communities with the organs. So the inner community of the liver knows how to communicate to the gallbladder. Pineal gland knows how to communicate to the thyroid, and they know how to share resources and how to bring balance back into the endocrine system. You can imagine there's an inner community dedicated to digestion. And they know that their duties are deeply important to your mental health. can imagine that they're coming to work joyfully, ready to help with the digestive tract from where we ingest through the mouth to where we outgest at the other end. And bringing awareness to the inner communities of the brain, particularly those who lead the committees of the senses. They're really helpful to remind the senses of their purpose, which is not to elicit craving, but to help us experience beauty. And to give us information we need, right, for the safety in our environment, but also really to experience beauty. Allow yourself to very deeply rest. These inner communities know how to do their jobs. So as you continue to rest, trust in the resources inside that are being replenished right now. For in fact, that's happening. The resources are right now being replenished. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om. Hari Hari Om. You may slowly now begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And slightly deepen your breathing. And as you deepen your breath, remember the source of breathing. And please bring your knees towards your chest. You can roll to your side. So happy to see you. Roll to your side and please come up to sitting. I'd like to finish with a pranayama so that you can feel the meditative potential in you. Yeah, so please sit upright. You can lengthen your spine so the base of your skull rises up slightly. And we're going to do this sitting because you have enough experience for this practice. We do the first third of the breath in the low belly, the second third of the breath in the mid belly, and the upper third of the breath in the upper heart, including the back of the heart. And we're going to divide the breath into 3 equal parts with 3 equal pauses. And then we'll do 1 consistent exhale all the way through. And the exhale also begins at the bottom of the abdomen and goes up like a zipper. And so let's try putting 1 hand on the low belly. So I have a hand down here on my low belly. 1 hand on the back of the waist, and the belly hand will be coming up to the heart. So it'll play 2 roles. So beginning with inhale to the low belly, let's do about 3 counts. And pause for 3. Inhale mid-torso for 3. Pause for 3. Move the hand up to the heart. Inhale upper torso for 3. Pause for 3. Move the hand back to the belly and exhale for 9. And do that smoothly and without interruption. Now lowest third for 3. Pause. Mid-torso for 3. Pause. Move the hand up. Upper torso for 3. Pausing. Move the hand down and exhale for 9. Now please try this in silence. And then rest your hands in your lap, palms face down. Please bring your hands together at your heart. We can sing together the Om Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. I saw that Valerie's dog came for the Shantis. So nice. Yeah.